So, here's the main question. What is lobbying? And that's what I did on Monday. So, Lobby Day is when the state representatives and pretty much everybody from DC comes home to their home state and they're open to the public so that we can talk to them and meet with them and ask them questions. And it's usually because of a bill that we want passed. And so we did this here in Salem, Oregon. So when you do meet with a state representative, for one personal visit, take time out of work to come meet them, that is actually equal to 100 people signing they vote yes for the bill that they want passed as a law. And so this is why it's so important for us to go. So here's my story and what actually happened. So we got in the car, just my mom and I, and we drove all the way from Newburgh to the Capitol. So we got to this big red building, and it looked kind of like a barn, and it was a giant building that we all met in, and it was super cool. So once we got in there, we sat down at these big tables, and there was a speaker with a presentation projected onto a board, and it was about lobbying and how we were supposed to do it. The man's name was Dominic, and he walked us through what we were supposed to do, and he was super cool. And it turns out the people at our table, with all these folders and stickers that we got and all this information, we all sat down in our groups that were already pre-planned. And so here was my group, and of course I was the only 13-year-old. So after they were done talking and we knew what we were doing, we headed out and we started walking to the Capitol building. It wasn't too far away from where the barn was. We saw lots of super cool monuments, trees. It was a super cool walk, and you know what? It did rain just a little bit, but some people had umbrellas, so it was okay. So once we got there, there were these giant steps that led up to the entry of the giant building. And we all stood on the steps and we got pictures taken. We listened to a speech and it was really cool. And there was this guy, and he was Representative Nose, I believe that's how you say his name. And there was a woman who was Representative Power. And we got a whole bunch of pictures. They made this long speech that was pretty funny. And of course, my mom had to get a picture of me with him because that was her the whole time, taking pictures of everything. So once we were done with all that, we actually finally got to go inside, and I was super excited. So once we were done walking around and we found where we were supposed to go, there was this giant room that we all went into and we met in. And there was this giant table that kind of was put together to make this rectangle that was hollow on the inside. And everybody was talking and doing what they were supposed to do. Here's what it looked like. And once it was time, we actually had to get back into our groups and we had to go get ready to talk with the state representative. So when we got in there, there was this guy who was the receptionist. And there was this scary office of doom that we were supposed to go into. I mean, it didn't really turn out to be that bad, but it was very intimidating at the time. So once we got in there, there was the state representative who was sitting at her desk, and she was listening to what they were talking about, and everybody was talking and stuff, and it was very scary, honestly. And yeah, there was me, silent me. I didn't say anything that time. I didn't really want to. I mean, after I got out, I kind of still felt like I was on the elevator, and my mom was kind of making fun of that. But you know what? It probably was just because of the coffee that I had earlier. Sometimes that happens. Yep, no words for me. So, after we were done, the rest of the group left because they weren't a part of the group anymore because of some reason. I don't even know why, but we didn't really know what we were doing, and we were newbies, so we didn't really know what to do. But in the meantime, we got to go see the Senate, the governor's office, and we met with a friend of my mom's. And actually, I got papers to maybe be a page there this summer, so that might be cool. So, of course, there was me and my mom. Didn't really know what we were doing. We had something in mind, though, and we were all by ourselves. And so I just pictured the next state representative being super duper intimidating compared to the last one because we were only by ourselves. And so we had to talk to her. But turns out when we got in there, she was actually really nice. I mean, we all sat down, she had out her laptop, and yeah, she was super nice, outgoing, and totally wanted to talk about it. And everything went good until my mom pops out and literally risks my life. Well, you know, it probably wasn't my life, but it really scared me for a sec. She decided to mention Asparagus Nation in front of the state rep, and it was a little bit embarrassing, but, you know, it actually turned out to be pretty cool because I was forced to talk about it then. And, you know, my face gets red. We understand that part, so that's not that big of a deal. Just letting you know, I also know that my face gets red. So, you know, me and the rep talked for a little bit about Asparagus Nation, and it turned out that she actually really liked the topic. And she actually was thinking that all of Asparagus Nation, or at least just the ANMP, we could all get together and we could go for a little field trip. And we could go testify in the Senate. It was super crazy. And of course, I was like freaking out about it just a little bit because it was crazy and I never knew it might get this far. So we left. We headed home from the Capitol and went back to Newburgh, and we drove home. And of course, I had to tell the rest of Asparagus Nation about what was going on because it was super exciting, and they all flipped about that too. And so now that I went to the Capitol, I know more about my government project, and I finished that night, and it was a lot easier. I would love to do it again, and it was really fun, so thanks for watching. Oh, and please go check out our website.